and welcome back to another video on the Football Zone and to another weekend previewing all of this weekend's Premier League and Championship action. We're going to start off in the Premier League, Leicester v Arsenal, and yeah, this is an interesting one. Leicester, they definitely seem to be picking up a bit now after a bit of a dodgy spell. Arsenal as well, they look really good in that win over Villa last weekend, so both teams are cleansed this high in confidence. It's a game that really could go either way, I feel, but I just get the feeling Leicester might edge it. I'm going to say a 1-0 win. Moving on, Burnley host Brentford at Turf Moor, and this is another interesting one. Burnley is going, you kind of feel they do need to win because they're struggling massively at the moment. Brentford, 2 losses on the trot in the league, but you know, they are coming against much better opposition. So nothing to get too concerned about here. But for me, yeah, this is a really interesting game. Just to see if Brentford really have dropped off or if it's just the quality of opposition. And Burnley, this is a massive opportunity for them to start getting some points on the board. But I do think it'll be a close game and I think it'll end up being a draw. I'll say 1-1. Moving on, Liverpool host Brighton at Anfield. And yeah, this is a game where you'd expect Liverpool to win quite easily. Yeah, they're a best team. Brighton, good from what we've seen so far, in fact very good, but yeah, if we just look at it on paper, they just don't have the team that Liverpool do, so therefore I expect it to be quite a comfortable victory, but I doubt it would be 4 or 5-0. I'm going to say a 2-0 Liverpool victory. Moving on then, another game for a title challenger that you expect them to easily win, and that's Man City v Crystal Palace. Yeah, Man City, we know they do love to hammer the odd team at home once or twice a season, and this could easily be one of those occasions. Crystal Palace have a lot of talent going forward, but you know, in the back as well they're solid, but I just get the feeling City might be hungry on Saturday, and it could end up being quite refreshing. I'm going to say a 4-0 Manchester City dub. Moving on, Newcastle host Chelsea at St James's Park, and it's the first game for Newcastle at home since Steve Bruce was sacked, and we all know how much he was loved by Newcastle fans, so yeah, could be quite a joyous atmosphere there. Maybe that will spur them on to something, but with how good Chelsea look at the moment, that 7-0 win over Norwich last weekend, just ridiculous. It really is hard to see Newcastle getting anything out of this one, to be brutally honest. I think it will be a Chelsea win, and I will say the scoreline will be 2-0. Moving on, Watford host Southampton at Vicarage Road, and this is another really interesting one. Watford, of course, they went absolutely crazy in the last few minutes in that game against Everton. Southampton, yeah, draw at home to Burnley. I think they would have wanted to win that one, but yeah, it is what it is for them. Watford, I think they'll be feeling confident going into this one, but as for Southampton, I think they will as well. It's a game that both teams will go into it thinking they can win, and that will inevitably probably result in a draw, so I'm going to say 1-1. Moving on then to the El Sacchio, as some people are calling it, Tottenham Hotspur versus Manchester United. Yeah, I don't think there's too much pressure on Nuno at the moment. Maybe there is a bit, but yeah, recently it hasn't gone exactly to plan, but for Man United it's all about bouncing back off that embarrassing humiliation against Liverpool, and you just feel like Ollie, whenever you feel like he's 1 or 2 games away from the sack, which he most definitely is, he always seems to pull a result out of the bag, and what's going to deny him doing it here? I think United will grab the win, and I think it will be 1-0. Moving on then to Norwich versus Leeds at Carrow Road, and Norwich, they desperately need a result after that humiliation against Chelsea last week, but Leeds, yeah, it's really not clicking for them either, and they just look a shadow of them for themselves last season, so yeah, I think this is a game that Norwich have to be targeting in order to have any hope of staying up, but I do think it will be a draw. I'm going to say 1-1. Moving on, Villa host West Ham at Villa Park. Villa, yeah, they're having a bit of a mixed bag at the moment, I think it's fair to say. Whereas West Ham, the first team to beat Man City in the Carabao Cup in 5 years, they're absolutely loving life. So yeah, but Villa do have home advantage. So yeah, for me this is a game that really could go either way, but I think I'm going to go for a team at the moment which I just think is better and has a bit more quality at the moment, and that is indeed West Ham United. So yeah, I'm going to say 2-0. Moving on then to the Monday night football this week, Wolves versus Everton at Molyneux. Which, yeah, they seem to be going pretty well after a bit of a shaky start under Bruno Lage. But yeah, for Everton, obviously that collapse against Watford last time out was really, really bad, and they'll be looking to bounce back from that ASAP. But I think this will be a tough game for them, and I think Wolves might get the win. I'm going to say 1-0. Expecting this to be a close game though. Moving on then to the Championship and to the Friday night football. QPR take on Forest at Loftus Road. QPR, once again, we keep on saying that they're inconsistent, but they're still a pretty good team. Seems to be win one, lose one. But yeah, against the Forest team, who obviously had been on a really good run under Steve Cooper and then lost 4-0 to Fulham. The scoreline did flatter Fulham, but yeah, still wasn't great from Forest, and I think QPR will impact misery on them here. I'm going to say 1-0. Moving on then to a game which I think most people expected to be to decide the title at the beginning of the season before Bournemouth ran away with it. Fulham versus West Brom. Some of the quality they have in this game shouldn't be playing in the Championship. It's as simple as, really. And yeah, I really can't wait for this one. Both teams have been a little inconsistent recently, but on their day, I do think these are the best two teams in the league, so I can't wait for this. But yeah, I can see them cancelling each other out, to be honest. I can see it being dull. I'm going to say 0-0, which probably would suit both teams. But moving on then, Derby take on Blackburn at Pride Park, and Derby, obviously the points deduction, they don't win many games, but I think it's fair to say that Derby are probably the most difficult team to beat in the whole entire league, really. And they're taking on Blackburn, who obviously got a win over Reading last time out, which was a solid result for them, because on the whole, being a bit of a downer for them recently. Brereton Diaz on the score sheet regularly, but I can see Derby equaling out. I'm going to say 0-0. Moving on, Bristol City take on Barnsley at Ashton Gate. Bristol City, obviously this home run, when is it going to end, Robbie? I think is the saying. It's just been ridiculous since February, January, something like that. They just can't win at home, and obviously got whacked last week by West Brom. But against the Barnsley side, surely this is when it's going to go to bed. Barnsley have improved recently, but let's face it, they're still really bad. And I think Bristol City are going to finally do it. I'm going to say a 2-0 home win. Moving on, Huddersfield host Millwall at the John Smith Stadium, and Huddersfield, it's still been a very, very good season for them compared to what most people think. It has gone a bit inconsistent recently, obviously with that loss to Bournemouth last time out and a draw the game before that, but yeah, it's still going better than most people start. Millwall, that's 2 wins on the trot for them. They're definitely improving, and I can easily see them being in the playoff race coming into the season, but I fancy Huddersfield here with home advantage to pick up a W. I'm going to say 1-0. Moving on, Hull take on Coventry at the KCOM Stadium, and yeah, the international break's only a few days away, and it's for sure the pressure is building on Grant McCann. He needs a result here, because let's face it, hasn't been getting any better against the Coventry side, who still doing really well, up in 4th place, far exceeding expectations. Not quite on the run of form they were a few games ago, but still looking very good, and I can see them picking up the win. I'm going to say a 1-0 Cov win. Moving on, this Borough take on Birmingham at the Riverside, and Borough, they're definitely starting to pick up. As I've mentioned before, the quality of opposition isn't fantastic, but they are starting to pick up, and Birmingham got that crucial win last time out, the one that they've been looking for, 4 points for the last 2, and they're definitely starting to pick up now. It's a game between two sides on the up, and it'll be interesting to see which way this goes. I think with a home advantage, Borough might just nick it. I'm going to say 2-0. Moving on, Preston host Luton at Deepdale, and this is another really interesting one. Preston obviously gave a good account of themselves in that Liverpool game, weren't hammered at all or anything like that, before that though, the Championship form hasn't been too great with the exception of that Coventry win. Luton though, they're unbeaten of quite a few games now, definitely starting to look on the up for them, so I think they'll be coming into this one with a lot of confidence, and I think it will be a draw actually. I think there's not much to separate the two teams. Moving on then, Stoke host Cardiff at at the Bet365 Stadium, and this is obviously an interesting one because as we know, Mick McCarthy was relieved of his duties as Cardiff manager, so that will give them a big boost. Steve Martin, former Millwall striker in charge, kind of his audition for the job really against the Stoke side. It hasn't really been going their way recently, so they want to improve desperately, and I think this is a perfect opportunity for them to do so. I'm going to say 2-0. Moving on, Swansea take on Peterborough at the Liberty Stadium, and Swansea, they're starting to pick up now after a bit of an adaptation, I'll call it, under Russell Martin, so they'll be coming into this one with a lot of confidence. But Peterborough as well, they really are starting to improve as well, with a win over QPR last time. So it's a game between two sides who are definitely on the up at the moment, so I'm looking forward to this one. I think Swansea, though, should just look at the two squads. They do have that bit more quality, so I'm going to say a Swans dub. Moving on, Sheffield United host Blackpool at the Bramall Lane, and Sheffield United, once again, is just kind of, you think they've clicked and then they haven't, but hopefully I think they are starting to now. And Blackpool, obviously, since that dramatic turnaround against Reading, they have really been on the up, and they're looking a lot better now, so I'm looking forward to this one. But I do think Sheffield United will stop Blackpool in their tracks. I'm going to say a 2-0 win. And then Reading take on Bournemouth at the Select Car Racing Stadium, and this will be an interesting game for sure. Reading, obviously, it was looking all rosy for them at a few weeks ago, and then that collapse against Blackpool has really put them on the back foot, and Bournemouth, they're just looking so good at the moment, absolutely on fire, 5 points clear, and they don't look like letting off anytime soon. This will be a tough one for Reading, who really need to find some form, but Bournemouth, they're definitely looking better than Reading at the moment, so I'm going to say a 2-0 Bournemouth win. But anyway guys, that's it for the video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Remember to start comments down below, to find out if it's a link in the description below for daily football news, and subscribe to my channel on the screen right now. I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.